Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. Gather around, kids. It's story time. Today we have a selection of short stories for you written by a former teacher by the name of Kim Brack. And like many teachers, Kim says it's very important to emphasize reading and storytelling because they open the door to so many different things. You knew that, right? Readers are leaders. As a teacher, she always encouraged her students to read and share story time with their parents or guardians or someone else.
And not just go home and sit down with the latest tablet or smartphone or anything like that. I try to get them to understand that in their life, there's room for both of them.
And you can probably relate to this. I mean, for me, it was always hard to not let the kids spend too much time in front of the television. I mean, when I grew up, there really wasn't that much on at all, especially after school, and cartoons were only on the weekends. But that has all changed. And in the age of computers, tablets, and smartphones, it's even harder to compete for a child's attention. Plus, it's hard to resist these devices. I mean, they do make great babysitters. So when the time permits and you're ready to crack open a book and share it with your kids, Traditional Short Stories for Children by Kim Brack is a decent option. It's for kids 3 to 6 years old, and it features stories about witches, the good kind, wizards, elves, giants, fairies, and, fantasy beings. And the book features some fun illustrations as well by Wendell Iborlis.
I couldn't have done anything like that myself. I'm not an artist.
Scattered throughout the book, you get to see some nice professional artwork showing the characters in action. Young kids are going to love them.
That was one thing about the illustration. With the younger children, the illustrations were there, so you could talk about the very colourful illustrations.
And the cover features a nice example of the illustrations. Here you get to meet Freddy, the foolish frog. And the thing about Freddy is, he is very foolish. All the other frogs avoided him because he spoiled their game with his silliness. This made him very lonely. Here's an audio sample read by Mandy Kaplan.
All the young frogs avoided Freddy because he was so silly, and he spoiled all their games. He had no friends, and he was a very lonely frog. One day, however, Freddy saved the lives of all the frogs in the pond. This is how it happened. It was a lovely sunny day. There had been no rain for weeks, and the pond was beginning to dry up. Now, frogs cannot live if their pond dries up. They need water and damp places to live in. What can we do? Everyone was asking. All the frogs were talking about the problem. Shall we move to another pond? One frog asked. That won't be much use, said another. In this hot weather, all the ponds will be drying up. I know, said a third frog. We could go and ask the wizard to cast a spell to make it rain. But he lives miles away, and it's a very dangerous journey, said the first frog. Anyway, he wouldn't listen to us. It's the only thing that might work, though, said the second frog. Let's go and ask the chief what he thinks. The chief was a very important frog. He was the oldest and wisest of all the frogs. No one knew how long he had lived on the pond.
What a tremendous voice. If you find it hard to compete with Mandy, you can download the audio version of the book on audible.com. It's like 24 minutes long and it's perfect for bedtime. She has another book out that features no pictures at all. It's geared toward early readers in the 7 to 9-year-old range.
That's what I wanted with the second book. I wanted it to be for older children. I decided not to include illustrations so they could concentrate on the words in front of them. And hopefully by the time they got to that book, they would be doing a lot of reading by themselves.
The second book is called The Birthday Gift, where it seems Jenny and Michael have a problem. When they set out to buy their father's birthday present, they found that some thugs also wanted the same present. This one is more of an adventure than a traditional short story, a mystery, and it gets kids involved with the words and the story. It's all part of her plan to get kids hooked on reading.
I've encountered parents who don't have any interest in reading or encouraging the children. So that's why I place so much importance on encouraging children. That's important to me. And hopefully get some reasonable books on the shelves for people to choose from.
There are some bad eggs out there as well. Not the ones published by Ex Libris like this one. thankfully, this author has a very easy-to-spell name. So if you do a search on Kim Brack, you'll find all of her books. And if you can't spell Kim Brack, then you haven't been doing enough reading. And that's okay. There's no time like the present to start. There's a link for you right here in the show's description. And that will close the book on this edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.